If you could have any summer experience in the world, what would it be?
Oh, vacation to other countries.
So life experience, traveling, meeting new people and cultures. And thought you didn't want to travel. I asked you before if you wanted to go to Korea or Japan or Laos or Cambodia. No, no, no. All of a sudden we have a change of heart.
Um,
Where would you like to go?
Maybe like the UK. I wanted to go to the USA before, but now I know about their tipping culture.
Their tipping culture. Yes. That's true. You got to tip anywhere from 10 to 20% everywhere you go. You buy a sandwich for $10, well, then you have to pay at least $11 or $12. Kind of crazy when you think about it, huh?
Yeah.
There's the Mr. Jason. How are you doing this morning?
Pretty good.
You're pretty good, huh? And
Evening.
evening. Evening for you, huh?
Yeah.
Still morning for me. It is 9:11 a.m. here in Chile. And it's cold again. Everybody's house, I see all the smoke coming out. They've got their chimneys going and they got their fireplaces going, their wood stoves. The landlord won't let me put a wood stove in here, so I have to use these heaters. And my electricity just jumped $50. It's like $1,000,000 dong. Not good. Not good. No, don't like that. Yeah. Do you have a wood stove?
Yeah.
A
Repeat
wood
that.
a wood stove means it's like a not an oven, but a cast iron box where you put wood in it to make fire and the smoke goes out a pipe outside. Do you have one of
Uh,
those?
no, no.
No. How do you stay warm in the winter? Do you have little electric heaters or you just wear a jacket?
I do have one of those heaters.
You have one of those heaters, yeah. Yeah, that's what I used when I was living in Kwanling too. The little electric heaters. I didn't see anybody with stoves. Do you know anybody that heats their house with burning wood?
Yeah,
You don't
I
know
don't think.
either. Yeah, I don't think it's very popular there. So did you finish all your exams? You all done, buddy?
Yeah, I'm all done.
So you got about another week of extra classes and then you'll be on your summer holiday
Yes,
and then you go treasure hunting
maybe.
with your metal detector. Walking up and down the coast of Vietnam looking for pirate ships.
I would love to do that, but people would look at me and think I'm weird.
Eh, so what they think. Have fun. Enjoy your life. Find a treasure and share it with me. All right, buddy. Your dad wasn't sure if you were ready for the test because it's a very different format today. Do you have your papers?
I don't, but I can see it.
You can't see it. Why? They're just you have it electronic. You don't have it printed, right?
Yeah, I don't have it printed.
Do you have your handphone or something that you can look at it when you're doing your test?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, then do that because, yeah, this one's different because usually when we did the A2 levels, we would do a reading comprehension. Remember, you would read me some of the topics and then I would ask you lots of questions to check your comprehension. This one's different. These are all speaking topics. Part 2 in this one is a solution discussion. I'm going to give you a problem with 3 options, and you're going to tell me which one you think is the best option to solve the problem. And then you're going to tell me why you didn't choose the other 2. in solution discussion. And part 3 is not a reading topic. This is a speaking topic. This is a situation, not a solution, but a situation where your parents are going to give you some options of what they would like you to do in the summer. And you'll have to pick one of them and then give me your reasons for why you chose that one or why you think that one would be best. And then I'll round it off with some general questions based on part 3. And that'll be it for the test. But we have 3 parts now because now you're in B1, CEFR B1. So it's a little more complicated, just like life. Yeah. All right, buddy. You ready to get started?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. Speaking test, CEFR B1, part 1, social interaction. The first topic is about reading. Do you think reading is a superpower?
For some people it is, but for me, I don't think so. It's just common thing, common sense.
It's just common sense. It's not a superpower, but it's common sense. Is that what you just said?
Yeah,
Do you like my new picture?
I see it. Yeah.
You see it. That doesn't mean you like it. You don't like it. Oh, man, I can't believe it. I thought you'd like this. My old fancy cars. I got some color on the wall now, and Santa came to hang out again. He's always hanging around here. I don't know why. He thinks it's Christmas every day. What I mean by a superpower is that, do you think it makes you stronger or more powerful if you read more?
I would. Yeah, actually, yes.
Mm-hmm.
You can. The power of knowledge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I'm not talking about your science fiction books or your Doraemon or Conan, but it doesn't matter because you're still building vocabulary. You're still improving your language. And if you're actually reading something educational or self-improvement, you're always going to learn something from that book. Some of the book might be boring, some might be interesting, but no matter what, every book I read, some are better than others, but I'm always learning something from the book, right? You can always learn from somebody, even some homeless guy on the street, and you sit down and talk to him. There's something that he knows more about in life than you do. He may not have the same situation as you, but that doesn't mean he's not intelligent, right? There's a lot of talented, smart people that are poor. So yes, you should think of reading as a superpower because it's really good for your brain. It's really good for the neurons and how they connect and how you learn. It helps you speak. It helps you formulate ideas. Over and above reading is the power to write. The human voice, the words that we use are very, very powerful. People don't realize that. Do you ever notice how some words can make someone laugh? Other words can make people cry?
Yeah. Notice.
It's pretty powerful. You know, people can motivate an entire nation with their speech and the words they use. And some people's words could make you look down on them and think that they're not good people based on the words they say. So the words you choose to speak are very, very important. And reading will lead to writing. And writing is truly a superpower. Then you can articulate all your thoughts and you can speak like a public speaker. But that takes a lot of practice. So reading is definitely a big part of that. You should always try to get some reading in every day, even if it's just fiction. It doesn't matter. It's that habit you want to create. I try my best to read every day. I wish I had read a lot more when I was younger. The question was, what or why should people read? And I think I just gave a whole speech there about why people should read. So let me just use the what. What should people read? What do you think people should read to better themselves?
Uh,
Hmm.
maybe
Nice and warm. My heater on? Yep. Got my feet all nice and toasty. Important to keep my toes warm.
maybe they should read the textbook before going to class.
That's a good idea. The courses would be a lot easier if you read the textbooks at home before you started the program, because then you'd have a more insight onto what you're going to learn. That's true. That's very true. That might have something to do more with the number 3 question. We'll come back to that. We'll come to that in a minute. But outside of your school textbooks, what kind of books do you think you could benefit from if you read at home?
Comic book because it will like keep me away from the screens and it still give me the entertainment.
That's true. That's true. That's why I wanted to do a Kensuke's Kingdom reading class with you guys. It's a fiction story, but it's just the fact that you're practicing your reading again and formulating sentences and getting new ideas. It's good that way. Yeah. I think any reading is good for you because it's just the fact of reading. It's really good for your brain. And, but I would suggest that as you get older, if you can develop the habit of reading, you should try to read more educational things. You know, it's like I think Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and them, they talk about it because they're big readers. They actually take like reading holidays. They like to read 4 or 5 hours a day. And almost everybody who's highly successful in life, they're all big readers. That's a fact. Very successful people read a lot. Many of them read at least a book a week. So that's 52 books a year. Sometimes that's hard if it's 400 or 500 pages, but it's very effective. The second thing I'd say about that is that imagine you read a documentary or an autobiography about someone and their whole life and what they've achieved and what they've learned. And you're going to get all that information in your head in a week or two. And it took them a lifetime to learn it. So you can always learn from other people. How can we learn more effectively? Now, I'm going to add to that before you answer it, because you did say something that is very true. If students were smart and they wanted to make school easier and they wanted to get better marks, you're right. If the kids would read the textbooks at home before going to school, it would make a big difference. But why do you think that would make a big difference? What advantage is it?
They can
What advantage is it for you to read your English textbooks or your history books before going to class?
I don't really know.
You don't really know? What is it I say about our tests all the time? If you want to get a really good score on your English speaking test, I always say, review the material first. Why? I've said it 100 times.
Forgot.
Preparation, right? If you're already aware of what we're going to talk about, it's a lot of the information is already there, right? So that's going to make it easier for you to take in more knowledge and additional knowledge. And you're going to have a lot of your answers before they ask the question, right? Anything you do in life, it's just like if you're going to cook dinner. You know, if you take the 15 minutes or whatever it takes before the meal to cut up your onions and your garlics and your carrots and get your spices out and your salts and peppers and all the food ready, and you cut the beef and you marinate it with some oil and salt and pepper and different things. And then, okay, boom, now I'm turning on the oven and I'm going to start cooking everything. It's going to make it easier to cook a good meal if everything is prepared first. If you just start turning everything on, you throw the meat on, then you start cutting vegetables and you start cutting that and you start cutting all the other things, things might not be so smooth. You could make a big mess, and this could be ready before that, and that could be ready before that. And it's like, oh, well, here's the meat, but the potatoes are still cooking. Right? So some are cold, some are hot. Any preparation or organization you do before anything in life is always going to make the job easier. So it's the same thing in school. Many kids talk about how hard it is to learn, like study habits. I was terrible at school like this. As soon as I did homework, I'd fall asleep. And I had very bad study habits when I was a kid. But as I got older, I got much better at it, of course, thank God. And I have some tips on how to be more effective, how to learn more effectively, how to remember what you're doing. Do you have any idea how to be an effective student? How do you think?
Well, maybe you should arrange your time of playing, studying.
Organization, yeah, we just talked about that. No question, we are creatures of habit. The better the routine you have, the better you're going to produce. That's for sure. But I mean, you have let's take an example. You have well, let's take history again. You're gonna do some history, Ho Chi Minh history. How could you learn that quicker? How can you learn it to the point where you could teach me about it so that you don't forget everything?
You research.
What do you do when you do the research?
I read.
Yeah, but sometimes do you forget what you read sometimes?
Oh, I
I
need
do.
to.
I do. I'll read a whole page, and then at the end of the page, I'll go to the next page and I'm like, wait a minute, what did I just read? Ah! And I gotta go back and read it again because I don't know what I read. Does that ever happen to you?
Yeah, it happened.
So how can we solve that problem?
We should take notes.
Exactly. Exactly. When I do my reading, I usually have one or two of my little notebooks. Usually this one I use because I can carry it with me, notes and things I don't want to forget. But usually I have like a book like this where I can write things down. And that's what I do when I read. I have my iPhone first of all, so that I could always check Google for meanings of different words if I'm not sure. And after I read a paragraph or a page, I summarize it in my own words. And when I do that, I never forget it because I took the ideas in my head that I just read and I rewrote them in my words. And I'm like, okay, now I understand this. And then next year, you could talk to me about that book and I remember what I wrote down. So I can teach it to you. That's why we always do topic-based classes in Newway too, because we learn the words and then we use the words and then we read something and the vocab is from that, so you can better understand what we're reading and we have a lot of conversation about what we read, even though you never remember the topics. Yeah, that's true. Topic 2. You were in the last class. Glaciers. What's a glacier?
Glaciers are those giant ice surface, something like that.
Giant
That
surface ice something. Where do you find the glaciers?
from the South and North Pole.
Yeah, where the coldest places on Earth are. That's right. Glaciers are frozen, well, packed down snow that freezes over millions of years. It turns into ice. That is correct. It gets pressed down every time it snows on top of it. And it's also in places that never have a hot summer. So the ice it never totally melts. It just a little bit melts at a time. That's right. How are glaciers good for us? there was a couple of things that were quite important for us with glaciers. Do you remember them?
Yeah, I think I do.
How were glaciers important to us?
They make the global warming slower.
Absolutely. It balanced the climate.
I accidentally dropped something.
I heard. That's right. It balances the weather, right? Because it's really hot at the equator, like where you live, and then it's really cold up north and down south. But it balances the currents and the water and the weather on the planet to make it livable for us and the seasons. There's another reason why glaciers are important to us. New dance, the shoulder shuffle.
I don't know.
How is it good for us and our bodies? Where do we get water?
From the ocean?
We drink ocean water? Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to go get a cup of water in Halong Bay. Are you sure?
No.
No. Where do we get the water we drink? That's not salt water. That's mineral water.
I never thought of it before.
Yeah, we just talked about it in our class last week. Unbelievable. I don't remember the percentage of it, but it's a large percentage. A lot of our drinking water comes from glaciers. Right? When it melts, not when it melts into the ocean, and then it's no good anymore because now it's salt water. But when it melts in the mountains in these areas and it makes all those waterfalls and streams, that's where a lot of the fresh water comes from that we bottle and we drink. Right? Mind you, a lot of our drinking water is right under our feet too. We have lots of freshwater rivers underground. That's why we dig wells and get our water from the ground. That's an excellent source of water too. I think in most places, but not everywhere. But yeah, we get a lot of our fresh water from the glaciers. Absolutely. How are glaciers bad for us? What could happen with the glaciers that would be very bad for you and me? And I don't mean one falling on your head because that's not going to happen.
Ships can crash into them.
That's true. That's what happened to the Titanic. It hit an iceberg and sunk to the bottom of the ocean. That is true, but that doesn't affect us. That affects the people on a boat. What bad thing could happen to the planet that would be very bad for us relating to the North Pole and the South Pole? To all the ice shelves.
The Ice Age.
Well, we just finished an ice age around 12,000 years ago or something like that, right? We do have ice ages every 70 or 80,000 years or 50,000. I don't know how many years it is, but we can record that, or we can see that in the layers and around the world when the ice ages were. So we know that we have ice ages. We know that we won't have another ice age because now we're in the warming time of the planet. But in another, I don't know how long, 40 to 80,000 years from now, the Earth will start getting colder and colder again, and the North and South will go through another ice age. That's true. That is very true. But it won't be in our lifetime. How do I ask this? Because I know you know the answer, but I want to get the answer out of you. I don't want to give it to you. What are people complaining about now about pollution and everything? How we're destroying our planet. What are they saying that we are doing?
We are.
Yeah, you're having a hard time today. What happens if all the ice melts?
The sea level will rise.
They say like anywhere from 50 to 80 meters. That's pretty high.
Yeah.
What happens to your house if the ocean rises 60 meters?
There will be floods.
It'd be floods. It'd be more than floods. Kamfa would disappear under the ocean.
Tsunami.
No, tsunamis is when you have an earthquake underwater and it creates that energy, that ripple, right? And then it builds up and it gets to the shoreline and it sucks in the water and then crashes into the land. Tsunamis come from earthquakes. Of course, you could have a tsunami from an asteroid. If it hit the ocean, it would cause massive tsunamis. And apparently one of the biggest tsunamis ever was in Alaska, where a huge glacier fell off the side of a mountain because it was it was a river and a cove, so it was a small area, and this massive ice hit the water and created like a wave coming out of the mountains down a river, like 100 feet high or something crazy like that. There's evidence of it, but of course it was a few, I don't know how long it was, quite a while ago, so we don't have any videos of it. But no, what would happen is that the water, as the sea level rises, the coastlines would disappear because the water would come higher into the land. So Kamfa would be underwater. You'd all have to move closer to the mountains and in higher land in order to survive, because the coastal cities today would not exist anymore. They'd be underwater. Maybe you see a couple of skyscrapers sticking out. Be kind of funny boating around, see the top of buildings everywhere. It would flood. It would be very bad if all the ice melted. The planet would get much hotter. The water would rise. Remember in one of our classes, we looked at Southeast Asia and we talked about, what it was like 50,000 years ago when we were in an ice age, because an ice age sucks up all the water and we have more ice. So the ocean levels go down. So that made it easy, not easy, but easier, like from people from Vietnam in a canoe or walking could go all the way down to Indonesia, right? Because the ocean was so much lower. So it's the opposite that happens when the ice melts. The oceans rise. And there's less land. Okay, enough about that. You didn't remember the bad things about it. We don't want them to melt. That's the big thing. How can we, the people, make the world more balanced? You can't change the world, but what little thing can you do to make it more balanced?
Well, we could always use electrical cars instead of petrol, gas.
So less emissions into the atmosphere. So pollute less. Do you know how much the car batteries cause pollution?
Actually, I don't.
There's a lot of research on that recently. So a lot of people are saying that the electric car industry actually causes more pollution than the fossil fuels. I don't know who's right, who's wrong. I don't think we found the right solution yet. Mind you, there's a lot of talk about the other natural source of energy. What do they call that? There's another. Well, nuclear. Nuclear is an environment-friendly, strange, yeah, but it actually is an environmentally friendly source of energy. Nuclear reactors. Now that we know how to run them properly and they don't blow up on us. Yeah, the idea here was it's all the little things, right? One person's not going to change the world. I mean, unless they hit a nuclear button to start a war, he could change the world. But on average, in general, you're not going to save the planet. I'm not going to save the planet. And we're not going to stop pollution all over the world. But what we can do is better ourselves, right? So if we pollute individually, one person pollutes less in the world and works with the community to help keep things clean and keeps on track of, who's creating the most pollution and keep pressure on them. And if you look at it that way, if everyone did a little bit to help the situation, well, that little bit from everybody around the world would make a huge difference so that it would make a global impact. That was where I was getting at. All right, we're going to go to part 2, solution discussion. Ready?
Maybe.
Oh boy, we're in trouble. All right, so we're going to do this part 2 solution discussion. Here's the problem. Nowadays, with social media and online gaming, there are less and less social projects to involve or keep kids busy. The belief is that kids need to spend more time outdoors and be more active. Which of the 3 options given do you think could make an impact? Which one do you think would make the biggest difference? 1, the city should create more boys and girls clubs with sports facilities. 2, the school should run special interest programs during the summer breaks. Schools should do this stuff. Or 3, the community, not the school, not the city, should organize summer camps for parents and children. Not just summer camps, but you know what I mean, like create different activities and come together to create different opportunities for you guys to be active. Your task is to select one and discuss how it affects you and what you would like to change in the future. So as I said in the description, I'm going to give you 1 minute on a timer here so that you can make a couple of notes on your notepad so that it'll be easier for you to tell me what your thoughts are. So where's my little clock here? There we go. All right, so starting now, you have 1 minute to prepare. Go. All right, that was a little more than a minute. But that's okay. I want to give you time. This is the first time you do this new format. So I want to give you every opportunity to do the best you can. So, Mr. Jason, which of the 3 options do you believe could have the biggest impact in your community with your friends and kids and parents and everybody?
I think the second solution would.
The school should run more special interest programs during the summer breaks. Okay. Tell me why.
Well, it will create a habit for young children to go outside, and it could be educating with sports and a bunch of other subjects like that.
I would agree. I definitely think that the schools have got to play a bigger role in society, and they need to have far more programs and far more sports teams and competitions so that kids can learn teamwork together and be more active. I totally agree with that. Anything else about schools?
Well, they shouldn't allow phones during these summer activities.
Are you allowed to bring your phone in class now?
Only for like calling someone to pick me up, like that.
But like in the classroom, you can't use your handphone, right? Okay.
Yeah.
That's true. Some different regulations for school would be good too. So why not? Why don't you think it's the city's responsibility or the community's responsibility?
Uh,
Or why didn't you choose those ones, I guess is the question.
because
Why not? Why not the city?
I don't I don't think it could force people to join the club to do activities there, and even if they do, they would just take a break and look at their phones, scroll.
So probably wouldn't be much supervision and they would just hang out there and play on their phone anyway.
Yeah.
True. That's a very big possibility. Lily said that there was enough sports centers and clubs around already, so that was not that big of a deal. Comfa has a sports center. I've been there once. Not very busy, but I saw it. Van Dun, I don't think you had. Do you have some kind of a sports facility in Van Dun? I don't think so.
Yeah. I've never seen one.
So why isn't it the community's responsibility? Mom and dad and your neighbors and the local representatives? Why not them? Why don't they become accountable for this?
Well, grown-ups, adults, they do not have too much energy to do sports and stuff like youngers, and
That's true.
it's gotta be hard to find a solution for both adult and children's can follow.
What about camping? No, that's it. That's a good point too. If you leave it to the parents in the community, everybody's so busy, it never becomes a priority. But the schools, on the other hand, they already have the staff and the teachers and the facilities. So it would be easy for them, a lot easier for them to organize activities and special interest programs in the summertime. I agree with that answer too. I agree with Lily's answer. She chose community. She thought that it would be very helpful if the community could organize different activities, different events where you get to spend more time with your family together. Let me ask you this. Do you think it's everyone's responsibility?
Hey,
Or just the school?
I think it is everyone's responsibility.
I do too. I think it's all three is the right answer. The city should do more for facilities and different types of funding. The schools should, of course, as you said, run more programs in the summers. And I also think the parents and the community should also play a role in this too. I think that's why I put all three options in there, because I think all three would help. But the question was, which one do you think would make the biggest impact? And you chose schools. No problem. Good answer. Yeehaw. Where's my pizza? I don't want that one. I want a fresh one.
I don't have a fresh one.
My God. After I opened up my pizzeria in Comfa, pizza places opened up everywhere in Van Dun and Comfa, and there's no pizza anymore? Unbelievable. Part 3, speaking topic. Are you ready? Good. I knew you were ready.
Maybe?
All right. So, our speaking topic, part 3. I'm going to give you the topic, and you're going to have to make a choice. Which one would be best for you? Your parents are giving you 3 options for the summer holiday. They want you to explore something new and gain new life experience. You may decide to work you may decide to work on a farm with animals and learn how to grow food, or work with a YouTube creator in a studio and learn editing and content creation, learn how to do filmography and make videos. Your third choice can be any adventure you wish. This could be, like I said, an acting school or sailing course, anything that you think you could learn something from of your own choice that your parents will pay for. So your task is to select the most suitable option for yourself, because your parents have said, no, you're not staying home this summer. You're not sitting on the sofa all day and play your video games and look at YouTube and cat videos. No. You're going to learn something this summer, mister. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to prepare again, and then you're going to tell me which of the 3 choices you chose. Understando?
Yeah.
Capiche? Okay. Your 1 minute starts right now. I turned the camera off because I want to promote Newway's logo, of course, so people see it on YouTube. Your time is up, mister. Have you prepared your answer?
Yeah, I think I got it.
All right, then, mister. Your parents gave you 2 choices, or you could pick something of your own desire. What did you decide? What would be best for Jason?
I would like to choose the thing that is more fun for me.
Uh-oh. Treasure hunting.
No.
Okay, Mr. Jason, what would be more fun? It was not about fun. It's about life experience, learning something. What would it be? Hanging out with Santa?
Oh. I would like to choose the
Farm, YouTube studio, something else? What is it?
the YouTube studio.
YouTube studio. Okay. So tell me why. Why would that be best for Jason?
I actually think that after filming that they will teach me how to edit, how to speak more.
What would be the best part of it? What would you want to get from doing that? You want to become a YouTuber? Or do you just want to learn all the computer skills?
I want to learn to be an extrovert person.
And a what?
Extrovert.
Oh, extrovert. So not be afraid to speak in crowds or to speak on a camera.
Yeah.
Some more social skills and public speaking and stuff. Okay. Yeah, because you could certainly learn about that too. It's not easy. When I do it at class, it's different because I can see you. So it's normal for me to just talk and look at the camera, and I can look at your face over here and I know I'm talking to someone. But when you set up the studio and you just run the cameras and you just sit there and you talk to the camera and you know you're going to talk to people around the world, but there's nobody there, it's a bit difficult. It's a little bit difficult. And standing in front of a few thousand people and speaking to them, which of course you're supposed to like focus at one person at a time and tell your story, whatever you're lecturing. But it's difficult. It's nerve-wracking. That is absolutely true. Okay. Well, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to give me a couple of reasons. So it would be the skill you would learn would be to be more extroverted. And of course, you'd learn some skills with that too. It's a small answer, but it's good. I'm going to ask you a few additional questions here to wrap this up. Do you think volunteering for experience is a good thing?
Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Most people don't want to give up their free time to volunteer to do things for nothing, which is very rewarding. Of course, we do it at Newway. We not recently, but we have done it a lot in the past where we've sponsored kids around Vietnam and Laos, to teach English as volunteers. And it is rewarding because there's a lot of kids out there that need it and don't have the opportunities that many of our students have. What kind of volunteering would you like to do? What would you like to learn about?
Maybe life experience, like getting a job or how to deal with problems.
So you want to go build a church in Africa?
I don't know.
I don't know. Go save the turtles?
No?
Volunteer cleaning up Halong Bay?
Maybe.
Yes. It's not that easy to do sometimes. Time can often be a problem, but it is very, very good to volunteer, especially in your community, because that's where things start. They start with you and your home before it can progress to your city and your country and the world. Now, and one of the options that we talked about, the school running summer programs. What summer programs do you think would be beneficial for teens today? What would you like to see your school run in the summertime right now? Knowing your friends and yourself and all the people in your neighborhood, what would be a really good program?
Maybe like acting.
Drama class. I wish we never had a drama school. Many schools have a drama department where they do plays and they have like a group that do that. I've never been to a school that had that, but I certainly wish they did because I think I would have got involved. I think that would be really cool. And again, it requires a lot of reading and speaking, so there'd be a lot of benefits. What do you think about schools having little farms and making one of the mandatory courses at school farming? That your class actually grows food and maybe you have some live animals and some potatoes. Do you think that's a good idea or no, thank you? Not interested.
I like to go plants, but I'm not great at taking care of animals.
Well, that's the whole point of the class, right? Because most kids aren't good at taking care of animals and they don't know how to grow food. So the question is, do you think that would be a good class program at school for all the kids so that you would learn how to do that? You'd know how to. I don't know what the school could possibly maintain, but I mean, if you have staff there year round, and if you had some farmer teachers, then of course they can maintain the farm year round and give classes during the school year and during summer programs. So they would be able to keep some chickens and God knows, maybe even some cows or pigs and have a garden where they're actually growing food year round. Okay, number one, do you think that would be a good program for people?
Yes.
Number two, would you want to do that?
No.
That's what I thought. Yeah, Mr. Noodles. If you could have any summer experience in the world, what would it be?
Oh, vacation to other countries.
So life experience, traveling, meeting new people and cultures. And thought you didn't want to travel. I asked you before if you wanted to go to Korea or Japan or Laos or Cambodia. No, no, no. All of a sudden we have a change of heart.
Um,
Where would you like to go?
maybe like the UK. I wanted to go to the USA before, but now I know about their tipping culture.
Their tipping culture. Yes. That's true. You got to tip anywhere from 10 to 20% everywhere you go. You buy a sandwich for $10, well, then you have to pay at least $11 or $12. Kind of crazy when you think about it, huh?
Yeah.
It's like you say $10. Why do I have to give extra money? Oh, you have to help pay my staff. Why do I have to pay your staff? Yeah. I made a lot of money doing that because I worked in the restaurant business. Just a little info here about especially Western culture. So a lot of European countries and Australia, they don't tip. But North America is the biggest tipping nation for sure. And I used to make very good money doing it. But it's true. Many people have argued the point that, it should be an option. If the waiter or waitress gives you a really good time and serves you and makes you feel great and the value is there, then sure, give them a tip. But now it's kind of become institutionalized or something. I don't know how to describe it, where now it's added to the bills and service, and then the employer gets to pay the employee less because it's a service industry and they have to pay taxes on their tips. The government gets part of that money. And it makes people angry. I went in, I can understand in a restaurant or a hotel, but I think it's foolish that when you I went to a Subway and the sandwich was ridiculous how expensive it was. It was only a 6-inch sub. I can't remember. It was almost $10 for a tiny little sandwich. It's just nuts how expensive things are there now. And then I paid with my debit card, and then it said, and he gave me it back, and he says, oh, well, you have to enter your tip. Do you want to give 10%, 15%, or 20%? And I'm like, I'm coming to you to get my sandwich. You're not serving me. I'm like, I don't understand. And then if you don't tip, they treat you really badly. Yeah, it's gotten crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you get a chance to go to America someday, or Canada, or any of the UK, or any of these Western countries. It's a great place to visit. There's a ton of history too. Well, in Europe, yeah, maybe not North America. All right, man, you can go eat your pizza now. Don't want to share with me. That's fine. I'll remember this. It's okay.
I don't have a pizza.
I wish I had a pizza. Maybe I'll buy a pizza today when I go into Santiago. All right. You did all right. Not too bad. It's a different format. So this, because now we're in B1. So it's going to be like this now for the next few tests. So this was the first one. So now you got a good idea, but it's more conversation, discussion, and formulating ideas. That's what we want to start working on now in the interest 20s. So we will go to interest 25 next week, and I will see you next Wednesday.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.